When Donald Trump first started, there were leaks. There were just absolute leaks that were going on. The president would have a discussion with a foreign leader. That would get out. It was classified information. Yes, this is how the deep state operates.
What happened to the president in the 2016 election and throughout the first 2 years of his administration was abhorrent. It was a grave injustice, and it was unprecedented in American history.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rich Higgins, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out called The Memo. And it's a story about my 20 years inside the deep state fighting for America first. And the book is really a story about why MAGA, why Donald Trump was elected. And it's an insider's account from, inside the swamp, inside Washington, D.C., of how the system really works. I joined the national security community, working throughout it for over 20 years. And I saw a lot of things that really kind of made me shake my head. And, what I began to realize is that people who sought the truth ended up getting punished, ended up getting pushed aside. And particularly during the Obama years, what we saw was an ideological driver that shaped everything that happened inside of the national security community. And I really began to question, what the heck are we doing? Whose interests are we serving? I joined the Defense Department originally as a soldier in the Army and later as an executive inside of the Department of Defense and working in the Pentagon to serve my country, not to serve special interests or corporations or foreign influences or any of that stuff. And, looking back on it, I felt like I was kind of naive. And what I want to do is I wanted to share with people, some of those experiences in a way that was accessible to you, that wasn't shrouded in mystery. Now, what happens is the community will sometimes look at a guy who goes black sheep or goes rogue and say, hey, this guy, he's a conspiracy theorist. He's off the reservation. This book doesn't have any of that. Everything you read about in this book is 100% factual, first-hand accounting. Some of you may know me. I'm famously fired from the National Security Council by H.R. McMaster, and literally perp walked out of the White House. And the book will talk to you a little bit about what that experience was like and how that informed my decision to write the book. Because what we've seen over the past 4 years with the Trump presidency is, candidly, it's shocking. There's nothing like it in the 250 years of American history. And it really is alarming, honestly. So hopefully what the book will provide you with is 4 or 5 key takeaways. The first is, that the system is worth actually understanding and then fighting to fix. The second is that there are good guys inside the system. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of them. But the system doesn't reward those guys. The system rewards the guys who go along to get along, and it promotes them. We need to fix that. The third is, there are some things in the book that are going to lay out this is a message to the people that are still inside the bureaucracy, still inside fighting, is how some of the tactics, techniques, the procedures that I utilized while I was inside, how to be an insurgent for the good guys, if you will, inside the bureaucracy. And then the last, I think, it's probably most important, is that America's worth fighting for. And, what I see happening right now in the country really worries me. We see the Democratic Party has largely adopted communism. We see a Republican Party that doesn't know what to do or how to fight it. And we see a lot of Americans out there who are looking at one another now and for leadership and for vision and voices. And I'm hoping to be one of those voices that, has been inside the system, has fought for this country, has served this country, and really I want to give this country back to the American people. A little bit about my background. I joined the Army after graduating from college, largely because I come from a family of veterans. I was bounced on the knee as a young boy by my grandfather, who had served in World War II, and I always idolized him and his service. And I felt a calling, and I know that a lot of people who are going to read this book, you're veterans, or you're called to serve in some way, police, fire, whatever that is. This book's written for you. It's a story that I think you'll recognize. And you'll see the guys who serve for the right reasons, and we all know what I'm talking about. There are the guys that serve for the right reasons, and there are guys that serve for the resume bullet. And I think you'll be able to discern that quickly inside the book that I'm one of the right reasons guys. Um, as you guys look at your world right now, I'm sure you're as concerned about it as I am. And I think anybody who's paying attention to the current political events knows what time it is. Um, this book is going to give you kind of a sense of community, I hope. That's what I'd like to have happen. Now, after serving in the Army for 4 years as an EOD technician, I worked with the Justice Department for a couple of years and then returned to the Defense Department. And I ended up serving in Iraq in an intelligence capacity. And we go into great detail in that in the book for those of you who are interested in the IED war and what happened there. It's like any experience. You chalk it up, but you look back on it with. I can tell you, as a 46-year-old man, I would not do the things I was doing back then today. And I think as you guys are reading the book, I hope that you sense that brotherhood, that soldier's brotherhood, because really this is a labor of love. I'm not somebody who wants to really be out front. I just felt called to write this book because I felt there weren't many books out there that spoke to the heart of the people that I had served with, and I'm hoping that this book does. Having left the Defense Department and then later returned to the National Security Council, it's been quite a ride. I kind of felt like Forrest Gump in this war in many respects. I never thought I'd have a front row seat for a coup, but I did. And even going back as early as the Trump campaign and some of the conversations I had with General Flynn and Steve Bannon, warning them about what I was hearing from my contacts inside the community. We talk a little bit about that in the book. We talk a little bit about my experiences dealing with General McMaster when he was the National Security Advisor. And then we get into some of the subsequent decisions that were made. And we've all seen the headlines over the past couple of years as the Russia hoax and Spygate continued, which is without question the biggest political crime in American history. And as of today, still only has had one person indicted for it. So this book is written for all of you who are interested in saving America. Why would I title the book The Memo? Well, I think it's really straightforward. The memo isn't a book title. The memo is a document that I wrote when I was at the National Security Council. And it was written for the purpose of informing the president the nature of the fight that he was in. In May of 2017, many people didn't appreciate the scale and scope of the forces that were arrayed against the MAGA movement or the president. And it's really critical that people keep in mind that, the president is symbolic of the MAGA movement itself. This isn't about President Trump. This is about stopping you, MAGA, and the American people. There's nothing that the communists and the jihadis and the rest of them hate more than the American middle class and the good American people out there. And so the title of the memo is a reflection of this document that was written, and what you'll find inside the book is an explanation for what that memo was about, why it was happening, and why if you recall back to the time frame, the leaked phone calls from the president's conversations with the president of Mexico and Australia and so on and so forth. In hindsight, we look back and we say, well, yeah, we kind of know something weird was going on, but back then, what you saw was the media and the liberal allies throughout the Washington Post and CNN and so on and so forth did everything they could to attack the voices that were trying to show this, including myself. And I was labeled a conspiracy theorist, a charlatan, a con man, snake oil salesman, everything else. And it's an interesting experience to go through all that. I have a T-shirt making fun of me as a conspiracy theorist, and I have my tinfoil hat right over there on the shelf. But we all know now, looking back, it seems kind of ridiculous, right? I wasn't doing anything that any patriotic person wouldn't have done. And so as you look at the media, they don't want you to read this book. The mainstream media does not want you to understand what I'm explaining inside this book. And so for no other reason, that alone drove me to want to write it. So what you saw 4 years ago in the election of Donald Trump wasn't, a divider being elected. What you saw was blue collar workers, union Democrats, just the forgotten men and women of the working class of America. The guy who drives the white van to work and fixes your plumbing or fixes your HVAC system. People from the African American and Latino community, people from the gay community. And I think what Donald Trump recognized and what those people sensed and what many of us sensed was that America itself was slipping away. And Donald Trump's election was about the restoration of America. He was calling people home to America, if you will. The mainstream media will tell you that he's a divider and he's somehow in league with the Russians and all this other nonsense. And what he is he's American, looking out for American interests and the American people. And so, this book is about returning America to a sense of itself, and giving it back its purpose and direction, and letting the other side know that we will fight for it. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to my little video here today. We're going to be doing these town halls periodically over the next couple weeks, and if they become popular, maybe the next couple months. I think what you'll see in these town halls is we're going to have some guests and some other folks in that are going to help illuminate some of what's happened. You can follow me on Rich Higgins _DC on Twitter. You can check out the book at Rich Higgins, The Memo. It's also available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Calum Publishing. So remember, check out what's in the memo, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and God bless.